Right now at noon, a Kansas father and children's pastor is facing multiple charges after he allegedly attacked his family and set their house on fire.
And we have got increasing clouds that's actually keeping our temperatures down across the area, and thunderstorms in southeast Kansas. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
Plus, an Arkansas state trooper has retired after he crashed into the wrong car during a police chase. We'll have the full story coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on KOAM News at Noon. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. In today's top story, 2 adolescent boys aged 12 and 14 went out for a joyride Sunday night, but the joy was short-lived after the 2 juveniles decided to street race, resulting in a car crash in Carthage. Just after 9:15 Sunday night, reports of a rollover crash at 13th and Palomino Road just outside Carthage alerted Jasper County Emergency 911. On scene, we learned a 2005 Toyota Tacoma being driven by a 14-year-old boy had overturned while racing a 2011 Chevy Tahoe driven by a 12-year-old boy. The 12-year-old Tahoe driver had a 14-year-old passenger in the vehicle. The Tahoe and Tacoma were racing along Palomino when the Tahoe crossed the center line and the rear of the Tahoe struck the side of the Tacoma. The Tacoma then traveled off the roadway, struck a tree, and overturned. The 2 14-year-olds were transported by ambulance to Mercy Hospital in Joplin, suffering moderate injuries. The Ottawa tribe is mourning the death of its chief. Chief Ethel Cook passed away at her home Sunday. She will lie in state until 4 p.m. Friday afternoon for friends and community members to visit. Graveside services will then be on Saturday, September 23rd at 2 p.m. at the Ottawa Indian Cemetery. Chief Ethel Cook was 72 years old. A father and children's pastor in Shawnee, Kansas is facing multiple charges after he allegedly attacked his family and set the house on fire. 41-year-old Matthew Richards is charged with 5 counts of attempted murder and 1 count of aggravated arson with risk of bodily harm. Reporter Peyton Headley spoke with his neighbors, who say the whole situation came as a complete shock.
Just more and more of them kept coming.
It was a scary sight for residents in their usually quiet Shawnee neighborhood.
We figured there could be something else more going on because there was too many of them for what was responding to this.
Jennifer Eggerman says she woke up to police cars, fire trucks, and ambulances flooding her street just before 4 Saturday morning.
It's just one of those scary things you don't think about.
Police say they were called to the house on Good Drive, along with the fire department, on a report of a disturbance and a house fire. Firefighters found a fire in the basement and quickly put it out. 7 people, including the suspect, were taken to area hospitals to be treated for injuries. Saturday afternoon, police said those injuries were different degrees of cuts. Police say the suspect, Matthew Lee Richards, is the father and husband of the victims.
Pretty scary. I'm real sad that, knowing that we've seen those kids out playing in their driveway with their family. Dad's walking the kids up and down the street with the dogs.
Now, their toys remain in the front yard, blocked off by crime scene tape, as investigators work to find out what happened inside their house.
Well, we've got scattered showers and thunderstorms. They've been persisting across southeast Kansas through the morning hours, and here we are at the noon hour, and you can see good portion of southeast Kansas getting showers and some thunderstorms and stretching back into northeastern Oklahoma. Now earlier, some of these storms had been a bit on the strong side. They never reached severe limits, but a couple of them got fairly close to that, and strong storms are still a possibility with this activity, not just today, but over the next several days. And as this activity, if you take a look, some of it's kind of fizzling out or at least dying down a little bit. We've got more activity that's continuing to develop now along the I-35 corridor in north central Oklahoma, and that will continue to fill in and roll on off to the east-northeast, bringing more shower and thunderstorm chances through the day. Yesterday started the day at 53, so bit off of where we're supposed to be, and made it up to 89. So despite that chilly start, we got up above average by about 8 degrees out there, and we're not doing too bad now. Now out in southeast Kansas, because of all the rain, you guys aren't really gonna make it much warmer than where you're sitting. So we're looking at 70 in Neodesha, Sedan, 67 in Chanute, 72 in Parsons, 69 Iola. So west of Highway 69, where it's been raining most of the morning, you're looking about at your daytime highs, maybe a few degrees warmer. But thanks to all the the cloud cover from that rain that's overspread a good portion of the area, we're not going to get nearly as warm out to the east as we were originally anticipating either. We're at 82 Joplin, Carthage, 80 Lamar, 76 in Pittsburgh, and we're looking at maybe getting just a couple of degrees warmer than that as we head into the afternoon because the clouds helping to keep temperatures down. Thunderstorms will continue to overspread the area, not just through this evening, but into the next several days. We'll take a look at that full forecast here in a few more minutes. Caitlin?
The Joplin City Council discusses plans to bring a new theater to town. A Nebraska-based company with a Joplin affiliate, Woodsonia Real Estate, is partnering with B&B Theaters for the project. They say it'll include 8 screens, a restaurant and bar area, and an arcade. It'll be located at the intersection of 32nd Street and Hammonds Boulevard. The city has already set up TIF districts to fund it. Last night, they discussed the development plans.
It makes me feel ecstatic, knowing that they have been to Neosho and have seen that great place, how clean it is, how wonderful our staff is. We are going to bring that and more to Joplin.
The new theater is expected to be up and running by 2025. An Arkansas state trooper has retired after he crashed into the wrong car during a police chase. State trooper released dashcam video of that pursuit on Interstate 40 in Francis County earlier this month, and they say that the trooper made an error when he was performing a tactile vehicle intervention. It's a police maneuver where a police car hits the back of a fleeing car to get it to lose control and stop. Authorities say the trooper had been pursuing 2 cars that were driving over 100 miles per hour. One of those vehicles was a white 4-door sedan, similar to the car the trooper crashed into to stop. Authorities say neither the driver or the passenger in the car that was struck were injured. And that's a look at today's top stories and weather in the 4 states region. Up next on KOAM News at Noon, the public sparring continues over a short-term spending bill that would prevent a government shutdown. Now the entire House Republican Conference meets in one room for the first time in days. And later, we're making chili mac and cheese in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Stay tuned. From the war in Ukraine to climate change, President Biden laid out his foreign policy platform in front of world leaders this morning at the United Nations General Assembly. Michael George reports from the UN, where Ukraine's embattled president is making his first visit since the start of Russia's invasion.
Help take on the challenges of their time.
President Biden called out Russia's war with Ukraine as a blatant violation of the UN Charter as he addressed the United Nations General Assembly Tuesday.
If you allow Ukraine to be carved up, is the independence of any nation secure? I'd respectfully suggest the answer is no.
The president also outlined the United States' vision to solve other global challenges, including climate change.
My administration, the United States, has treated this crisis as an existential threat from the moment we took office.
Unusual this year, President Biden is the only leader from the 5 nations with permanent seats on the powerful UN Security Council to address the assembly. The heads of China, Russia, France, and Britain all decided to skip the event this year. Their absence comes as Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky makes his first in-person visit to the global gathering since Russia's invasion began. In an interview on 60 Minutes ahead of his speech, he argued the Russians will invade other countries unless they're defeated in Ukraine.
If the Russians reach Poland, what's next? A third world war?
Zelensky is set to visit the White House and Capitol Hill later this week as Congress weighs Biden's request for an additional $24 billion in aid for Ukraine. Michael George, CBS News, the United Nations.
The public fight over spending among House Republicans moves behind doors this morning as the entire caucus considers a deal that could keep the lights on for another 30 days.
The public sparring continues over a short-term spending bill that would prevent a government shutdown. The entire House Republican Conference meeting in one room for the first time in days. A lot of emotion surrounding the spending deal offered up by the conservative House Freedom Caucus and moderate Main Street Caucus leaders. Their plan would keep the government running for 30 days, increase border security, and cut spending levels by 1%, not including defense, Social Security, or Medicare.
If we want to be able to win these objectives, we should show the American public our ideas and be able to pass them. Is it a struggle? Yes. But you know what? Sometimes struggles are worth it.
But some critics tell Fox News those cuts don't go far enough, while others just want to skip a continuing resolution altogether and focus on passing appropriations bills. Now, opponents say there are close to 20 Republicans that are no's, with even more undecided.
These are spending levels that Nancy Pelosi established and policies that Joe Biden established. I voted against them for the last 2 years. Why in the world would I vote for it now?
Regardless of whether Republicans can come together, the proposal has little to no chance of making it through the Democrat-controlled Senate, raising the likelihood of a shutdown.
It's a scary pattern we're seeing emerge with some on the hard right. Extremism at all costs, even at the cost of our national defense.
And House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says he still plans to hold a vote on this short-term spending bill this Thursday.
Still to come on KOAM News at Noon, we see what's cooking with Mr. Food.
If you like mac and cheese and chili, then you're going to love how we combine them to create a taste sensation that'll blow your mind.
Now we've got some perfect weather for chili mac and cheese as our thunderstorm chances continue this week. Take a look at that full forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at Noon. So scattered showers and thunderstorms have been continuing through the morning and now into the afternoon across southeast Kansas and stretching back into northeastern Oklahoma. Some of those storms have been a bit on the strong side with some small hail and gusty winds like we talked about this morning. Let's take a first look. We've got some of this activity is kind of letting up a bit, weakening just a bit. Still got thunderstorms out there with some of this, but not nearly as strong as they were earlier across parts of the area. And we head up to the north. We had a decent looking batch of heavier rain around Chanute. That is now kind of let up. And this cell up here by Yates Center in Woodson County, boy, it was just trying its best to get to a severe stage, but it never really made it that far. But folks around Yates Center and points to the west probably got some small hail, some gusty winds out of this before it began to weaken. And this is just a closer view, trying to re-intensify now in the northwestern quadrant of Woodson County. But again, no strong or severe thunderstorms ongoing at this moment, which is great news, because while we need the rain, we do not need that kind of activity. However, as this stuff begins to kind of weaken up a little bit, let up a bit, we are watching new development taking place along and to the west of the I-35 corridor in north central Oklahoma that will eventually be making its way our direction. And all of this will continue to overspread the entire area as we head through the rest of the afternoon, evening, and overnight. Back to our potential for some strong, possibly low-grade severe storms. That potential still there. We have this low-end hail risk for parts of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, and a low-end wind risk. So outside of the gusty winds we've been experiencing just in general, could see some strong winds and some small hail for some of us as we head through the evening and into the overnight hours. But the good news is we're still at this point not anticipating any widespread severe weather. So here we go, 5 o'clock. We continue to see this activity roll in from Oklahoma, from Kansas, pushing off to the east, bringing more widespread showers and thunderstorms through the area as we head into the overnight. We head towards sunrise in our commute time tomorrow, and a few scattered showers and thunderstorms still possible out there. And the majority of these will start to clear out by noon tomorrow. And then we're actually going to go through a fairly long gap with maybe a stray storm or two. But it won't be until Thursday afternoon that we start to see another round of organized shower and thunderstorm activity. And here goes one batch that lifts off to the north, and we get a pause, and then as we go late Thursday, we'll see another round of showers and thunderstorms out there, and that'll continue into Friday. In fact, showers and thunderstorms continuing with us all the way into our Saturday. So with that said, we still have that low wind risk for some strong, possibly low-grade severe storms over a broader area on Wednesday. It gets trimmed up Thursday and still hangs around, though, as we go into Friday and Saturday. Rain chances, again, really starting to ramp up and hanging out in the high zone as we head into the overnight hours and into the first half of our Wednesday. Quick look outside, MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line. It is cloudy. Same down in Neosho from the MoDOT camera there. Our camera here at the KOAM studios, cloud cover for sure, and cloud cover again from the KDOT camera at 69 and East 520th Avenue out there. So our temperatures today, again, where you've been getting the rain, yeah, it's not really going to warm up much more than about 72, 73. Ahead of the rain, we're looking at highs now low to mid 80s instead of mid to upper 80s. Again, thunderstorm chances hang out with us through Saturday. some strong storms possible with that activity. Highs upper 70s, low 80s. And then as we kick into next week, we're warm, but we're seasonable. Upper 70s, low 80s, partly cloudy skies, some sunshine out there. But between now and Saturday, we are getting some much needed, absolutely much needed rainfall out there. Again, the only thing we gotta keep an eye on is that potential for a strong storm or two. And of course, we'll monitor that for y'all.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, stick around because we're making chili mac and cheese in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. It's time to check in with Howard and the Mr. Food Kitchen staff. Today, he's making a recipe that combines two tried and true favorites, chili and mac and cheese. The result is one beefy, cheesy casserole that's good till the very last bite. Take a look.
We're a nation that loves when we combine two classic flavors into one. I mean, who doesn't love peanut butter and chocolate or fried chicken and waffles? So today, let me show you a new favorite that combines our best mac and cheese with a shortcut beefy chili. We start by cooking some elbow macaroni according to the package directions. Once they're tender, we drain them. And while they sit for a sec, we melt some butter in the same pot. To that, we add some flour and dry mustard, along with a bit of salt and pepper. After this comes together, we stir in some milk and let it cook until it thickens up. Once it does, in goes lots of cheddar cheese. After it melts, we add our pasta, and into a casserole dish it goes. Some shortcut chili goes over that, along with more cheese and crispy fried onions. That'll give it the crispy, cheesy top we all love. After it's baked, it's time to call the troops to the table. Does this look amazing or what? And talk about the perfect combo. You get the creaminess of the mac and cheese and the beefiness from the chili. To get the recipe for our chili mac and cheese, simply visit our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found two classics in one way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
To find this recipe, along with many others, just head over to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com and click on Mr. Food. Now here's a look at 4 state market prices.
All right, we got those scattered thunderstorms continuing with us and increasing in coverage as we head into the overnight hours, and we will hold on to scattered storm chances all the way through Saturday, and we do hold on to that possibility of a stray strong storm or two. We'll keep an eye on that for you. Otherwise, much needed rainfall and then clearing out by next week.
All right, Chris, well, we'll definitely keep following you on those storms. And what do you have for us tonight?
Well, at 5, minivans are popular with parents, but new research shows they might come up short of protecting passengers in the back seat. Plus, Joplin Downtown Alliance talks about incoming businesses moving into vacant spaces. And we're going to hear from a Baxter Springs resident losing her job after 35 years due to a business declaring bankruptcy. Hope you join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's coming up today on KOAM News at 5.
And that's the news for now. Thank you for joining us on KOAM News at Noon. Have a great rest of your day.